Welcome to Still Serving, the VFW Podcast, the official podcast of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And now, from the VFW Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., here's your host, Rob Couture.
And welcome to Still Serving. I'm your host, Rob Couture. We're going to go ahead and start off with introductions into the room for this very special edition of Still Serving, the VFW Podcast. Going over to my left, your right, is the brand new president of the VFW Auxiliary, Miss Lois Callahan. I'm glad you're here.
Hey, Rob. It's good to be here.
Great to have you here. And right next to her, actually in the studio, it is Brittany Diamond Murray. You're not in Rhode Island.
I'm not. I'm physically in D.C.
You're physically in D.C.
I am physically here, yes.
I'm glad
to be here.
Yeah, it is good to have you here.
So awesome.
And next to her, the brand new, newly minted Commander-in-Chief of the VFW, Ms. Carol Whitmore. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Rob. Thank you for having us here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
It is super great to have you. And of course, as always, our trusted leader here at the VFW Washington office, the executive director, Ryan Gallucci.
Thanks, Rob. I think this is going to be a good episode. We've had a lot going on here this week, and most of all because Brittany's here.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, wow. Okay. Not what I would have picked. I'm glad to have you here. But everybody must be wondering, why are we so gussied up? It's a special occasion. Rob's in a suit.
It's
what
because
in
the
the world?
Commander-in-Chief's here.
It's because
Madam President is here.
That's right. That's true. Madam President, Commander-in-Chief.
Get dressed up for that.
We do. But there's a lot more to talk about, and it all inclusive of the people that are here and why we are gathered in this place. So, Ryan, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to you because you kind of have our agenda, do you not?
Yeah. I've got so here's the whiteboard. Mm-hmm. We've got, since we have our leaders here today, we're going to talk about our leaders' priorities.
Yeah.
We don't get this opportunity much on the podcast to have both the Commander-in-Chief of the VFW and thank you. Oh, that's going to spill. Here we go. Thank you.
There was a little bit of water movement.
Thank you.
Our good Commander-in-Chief is looking out for our Executive Director.
Our Commander-in-Chief is still serving.
Still serving.
Spill water on myself. Yeah. And that those watching can actually see the whiteboard. But our leaders' priorities. I don't think we've had both the Commander-in-Chief and the National President of our Auxiliary on the podcast at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so also this early in the VFW program year, so we're excited to hear about your priorities and the way that the VFW and Auxiliary are going to work together over the next year. We're going to talk about our fall Hill visits, which is probably the real reason we're all in suits. We had our National Legislative Committee in town this week and our organizational leadership visiting legislators, visiting government leaders to talk about the VFW's priorities. We're going to talk about committee work. Commander-in-Chief had charged the VFW Washington office and her legislative committee we're going to do more. We're going to reach more of our comrades at posts and communities around the country and around the world. And we've had a lot of great discussions this week. That I know you're gonna talk about where this committee's going and what you see as the future for our National Legislative Committee. And then, as always, we're going to have the fun part, the good of the order.
That's right, the good of the order. So I think what is probably best is for our leaders, our audience, to get to know our leaders. Mm-hmm. So, Carol, we're going to start with you a little bit. We're going to put the link to your bio in the description for people that are out there, so that way if they want to read your full bio, but just kind of like where you're from, what'd you do when you served in the military, and what got you to where you are today. You ready?
Yes, I joined in 1977, which was still, it was considered a WAC, Women's Army Corps, which disbanded in 1978. So I was one of the last full cycles of Women's Army Corps, but I also was integrated into the regular Army with the men at the end of my basic training cycle. So went through that and fast forward through a couple years of different MOSs, traveling the world. I retired in 2013 after my tour in Iraq. I became a nurse in between there, and I'm very grateful for that career. And I that is now my eligibility for the VFW, and it's my honor to do what I do, and it's a privilege to do what I do.
Fantastic. And you're also from the great state of Iowa.
The great state.
Okay.
The great state of Iowa.
Okay. Where exactly in Iowa? I have a few friends that are from places such as Davenport and Ankeny.
Okay.
So where are you?
Okay. Well, I'm originally from a very small farm town, Traer, Iowa, which has about 1,200 people with the cows and chickens, if you count them.
Or eat them.
Yes.
Or eat them,
Yeah.
Yes. But I now live in Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay.
Which is close to Ankeny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a suburb. Lived there with my husband, have been there for 12 years. Upon return from Iraq, I promised that I would go where the kids and grandkids were. So there I am, and I'm very happy there.
And you do an awful lot of travel. But, you're considerably close to our national headquarters there in Kansas City, Missouri. So
3 hours.
it's not like you're flying constantly. 3 hours drive, you said,
Yes,
right?
3 hours driving.
Lot of road work there.
Yeah, it could be. I haven't had to travel a lot to headquarters, but I travel every place else around the world, which, again, I'm so proud to represent the VFW and its members. And I realize that's a lot of weight to carry, and I take it very seriously, and I want to make sure that I do represent well and professionally and carry our message of what the VFW is. And it's our mission to advocate for fellow veterans, and that mission never stops.
Absolutely. That's really great. And we have traveled around the world, you and I.
Yes, we have.
To the other side of the world.
So have we.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. You as well. That's great.
To the other side.
To the other side, yeah. Yeah, that's right. A lot of good times there. So let's get to know, this is actually the first time that we've had, it's not the first time we've had a VFW auxiliary member on, but this is absolutely the first time that we had anybody for leadership, let alone the national president. So Lois Callahan, what about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. My eligibility. Can I tell you about that first? Okay, so that's going to be through my father, who was an Army veteran, 27 years. Vietnam twice, Korea once, and so let me tell you a little bit. Let me be honest here. So he retired, and I said, Dad, you're going to have somewhere to be, somewhere to spend your energy, somewhere to stay busy. And so I directed him to the local VFW, which I knew nothing about.
Oh.
And he became so involved so quickly that I had to go to the VFW to spend time with my parents. So that was my introduction to the VFW.
Oh,
that sounds like Mike Figlioli's story.
It does.
Yeah, Mike Figlioli. Yeah, except hers is being, they're on the auxiliary side. So where are you from? Do you say that?
Currently, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas. Okay. Yeah. Little Rock Air Force Base, not too far away from where you are.
Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville.
Air Force Base.
That's right. Okay. So being the auxiliary president, how did you get to this place in your life with the auxiliary? Like, what brought you all the way here? Were you like, one day I will be the auxiliary president?
I did.
Oh.
I said one day I will be that. Yes.
Good for you.
That's awesome. Because you want to excel, and you want to provide those
goals.
You want to provide what's missing. Where can I fit in? Where can I help? Where can I advocate? And advocating on the Hill became a passion. Working in the hospitals, just all the programs that we do are so exciting, and just to see where you can help and become something that's work in an area that's bigger than you are and make a difference.
Wow.
So.
Wow. From the time of your first entrance into the VFW auxiliary, you're like, that's
distributing poppies with my dad.
Really?
Look at that. That's super cool.
Right.
Wow. Well, good on you. Way to, achieve your goals
That was my
in life.
start.
Man, I don't know about that.
There's something really, I really like that story, because there's something we talk about a lot around the office about VFW membership and auxiliary membership and the ownership that you then have of that organization. Look, we're all one member of the VFW or one member of the auxiliary, but how are you using your one membership in this organization to make a difference? How are you still serving? Sorry, I had to, but really, no, I just love that kind of story.
Fit, and where can you best make a difference?
Yeah.
And that's what led me to where I am.
Yeah.
I had no intentions of being the commander. but the opportunity was there, and I said, now I have a chance to make changes, not just because of this, but because my passion is advocacy, and Ryan knows that. He's known that for many, many years. And this is where we make our changes for fellow veterans who don't have that voice, who don't have that position that we do, so that we can make those changes.
And I love that your years are coinciding when you're
Right.
both this passionate about advocacy.
Right.
So
Yes.
that's really exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
It
That's
is.
why we cornered you in the hallway and said we're going to record a podcast today.
Yeah.
Yes. But we have such a brilliant team here in DC, and people do not realize just how smart everyone here in DC is. Ryan has so much to offer to the VFW. He could be any place else here in DC on the Hill, but he chooses to be with the VFW, and I thank you for that, Ryan. And Rob, you could be any place else, and Brittany, you could be any place else also. Not Rhode Island, but
Yeah.
but you all chose to be with the VFW, and what a collection of team. And here we are. It's kind of like every star has aligned here, and we all have that same passion, that same desire to make sure that we're doing the right things in the VFW and on the Hill, and making sure that we take care of those veterans who cannot do it themselves.
Well, that is really kind of you to say. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate
It
that.
truly
Carol.
is a team, and I truly mean that. Ryan is brilliant.
I was thinking about that the other day when I was watching you in action. I was like, Ryan could really go run for office if he wanted to.
That's
but-
what he said it out
to.
loud.
I know you don't, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I've seen how we'll probably save that for the good of the org.
well, I mean, you have your priorities here at the VFW, and I think it's really appropriate for us to talk about our leaders' priorities for the VFW.
Yes, please.
And Carol, so you came into this. Has it already been a month? I mean, it
Yes.
seems like a
Yeah.
whirlwind
Yes.
since you
It is
took over as
almost
commander in chief.
exactly 1
It's
month.
almost exactly 1 month. So it's been 1 month in the chair as our commander in chief. How's it feel so far?
It's a privilege, and I've said that before, and I'll say it many, many times. I do not take this lightly, and I will do everything I can. The year goes just like that, and it's already been a month.
Yeah.
And I have so much I want to accomplish here in DC, testimonies, sitting in on testimonies, and making sure that if I get an opportunity to be someplace to put the VFW in the best light possible, that's what I want to do. Traveling to the membership, my membership card is just like everybody else's. It says member on it, just like
That's
Lois
right.
pointed out the other day.
Thank
I
you.
might be commander-in-chief, but I'm still a member of the VFW. But
That's right.
I will do my very best to represent this organization.
And hey, look, we have always really appreciated the fact that you have said, "Hey, I'm a VFW member. I'm a veteran like all of you," but we can't deny the history. I mean, you are the first woman to take over as the commander-in-chief of the VFW. First person ever be in the chairs that's a woman veteran.
Yes.
Or veteran that's a woman, I'm sorry, that has been in the chairs and gotten this far.
Yes.
First Iowan as well, right?
First Iowan.
Yeah.
Yes, first female, and it's not my first highlight, but I embrace that because it is important for other females to realize that there are other females out there that are still serving, and they should feel like they're part of this organization. They should not feel like they can't walk into a VFW and not feel welcome. And that's what needs to be highlighted and to stop, that I've served just as long as anybody else. I probably served longer than the combination of any of you in here. I served 36 years in the
Yeah.
Army.
I think
almost.
you're spot on. You're
Brad,
24
Rob,
from-
yeah,
yeah,
Rob
but-
might have me
24 plus
close.
8 in the
Yeah.
reserve.
Yeah, there's like 6 and change. So you
Yeah.
made
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're.
But still, I'm very proud of that service, and I want to make sure that everyone, not just females, but everyone feels like they have a voice here, and I want to be their brother and sister keeper. I want to make sure that they know that I have them, and if if I can, then I have accomplished my mission.
Yeah.
And I think that you're already accomplishing it, Carol, because representation does matter. And so I love the precedent that you're setting, that like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you want to lead the VFW, you can.
Yes.
And it's so important for, currently serving service members and women veterans who are already, veteran status, to see you in this position and see that you're excelling and see what phenomenal leader that you are. So it's like, oh yeah, there is a place for me in VFW.
Yes.
And I can keep serving after service in this meaningful way. So that's something that I'm really excited about, and I know that I'm not alone in that.
Yes.
I think there's a ton of excitement there because yesterday you and I were leaving a meeting on Capitol Hill. We were in the Longworth House office building, and you got stopped in the hallway by somebody.
Yes, yes, she
General
did.
Dunn from the Adjutant General from Maine.
Yes.
She recognized me going by. I missed seeing her, but I had just met her a couple months ago up in Maine for their convention, and she remembered me, and she stopped me, and she said, Carol.
Oh, she ran out in the middle of the hallway.
She
It's like,
did.
is that the commander-in-chief of the VFW?
Oh, really?
I do have a photo, so we'll incorporate it in the podcast.
I can't wait to see that photo. That's cool.
That was such a cool moment.
It was.
Like, that was.
She right on.
Oh, yeah.
It's Carol.
To you.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Because I was going to walk by. I didn't see her, but she saw me, and that meant a lot to me. That she remembered me from, a very brief meeting, half an hour meeting, up in Maine. So. Shout out to Maine here.
But that's what Brittany's talking about. That's why it's such a profound moment for the VFW, and it's just we're all excited and honored to just be a part of it.
Well, Carol, I'll tell you what, I'm like we had talked about before you became Commander-in-Chief, we're going to leverage the heck out of your uniqueness because that's how you grab people's attention.
Yes.
And then once you get them in, and they're like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And then you hit them with, here, let me tell you where the VFW's at.
Yes. Let me tell you about our mission.
There you go.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
So let's continue on with some of these priorities that you have for your year.
I do have to mention one thing.
Go ahead.
I think I'm the first male-female married couple as VFW. I don't think that's never happened before either.
As dual VFW members.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I think
that
you're
is
right.
new. Are you also the first nurse?
No, I don't believe I'm the first nurse.
Oh,
But yes, since my husband is in the VFW, I don't think there's ever been a married couple that has been part of the leadership.
And I would say also as such an effective couple, because both of you have been hitting the hill for years,
Almost 10
passionately
years. Yeah,
advocating.
More than 10 years, yes.
So
yes.
I met both of you when you were making your rounds every conference, March and September, going to, your legislators' offices.
And that's how I got started on this path, really. Who was, it was Ray Kelly that was the director at the time. And Ray is another fabulous supporter of the VFW. But that's what got me interested. That's where I learned. That's how we best take care of veterans. That's how we get our mission done. And so that really started the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So legislative priorities,
Yes.
or legislation and advocacy, I should say.
Yes.
That's one of your main priorities, one of your main goals.
Yes, advocacy takes care of everything for us because if we advocate for veterans, then the public sees that. The public understands that our mission is making sure that we're taken care of the way we were supposed to be taken care of. Honor the contract.
Oh, we've got the pins right here.
Yes.
Yep, right
The
there.
contract.
Yes.
We're all pointing to the pins, like, oh, you see that?
Pen. I have a pen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Buy your grunt style T-shirt.
Yeah, I saw someone wearing that the other day in
Yeah.
the
Because
Ledge
we
committee
said
training.
we would honor our contract.
Right.
And if we did not honor our contract, we suffered consequences. We were either kicked out of the military or we had consequences of something else. So why should Congress not honor their contract to us? We are honoring ours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to be done. And I've told Ryan before, if we have to sit on the steps here like they did in World War II, that's what we need to do to make sure that, my fellow veterans who are not as fortunate as me. I'm very fortunate in being taken care of, but there's those out there that are not. And the widows of veterans, they are not taken care of properly either. And their children, their orphans. That is our mission, advocacy. And what ties into that is our service officers. Our service officers absolutely take care of our veterans in the best way possible for their compensation. And I have 3 focuses. It's advocacy, our service officers, and our POW MIA mission.
How fitting that right behind you is our POW MIA flag.
Yes.
I mean, I would say that
Yes.
our trip that we took last year, was it
Yes.
last year?
2 years.
23.
23.
Was it 23?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
wow.
It's already been that long.
What? It's been that long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would say that was pretty profound.
Yeah.
Being flown out in a helicopter and then
A
showing
Russian
up on top of-
helicopter.
Right?
That was held together by, I think, 100 mile an hour.
Board. Absolutely.
It was shaking pretty good, but you know what? It was profound because they'd never had a female there before, and I wanted to make sure that I did everything that could be done to bring light to our mission, and just came from the DPAA office here at the Pentagon, and they know I'm 100% behind this mission, and it is about advocacy for that also. It is about making sure that the public knows we've kind of lost that mission, and they need to remember those families deserve to have their loved one home, and that American deserves that final salute on American soil.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I would say that, that's what really brings together the VFW and our auxiliary, because it's our family members that are there, the Gold Star families, those are left behind. So Lois, when we talk about priorities, let's talk about yours. The auxiliary, it's not something that we VFW members that maybe not as involved with the post, or maybe we are, and maybe there's differences of opinion of how the auxiliary and the post are run. We all know that if it's
How we
inside
can
Never
together.
heard of
how we can mesh together.
Right.
But this is a great opportunity for you to kind of lay out to a huge audience that we have, hundreds,
It's massive.
hundreds.
At least 50.
At least 50.
To our tens of listeners.
Yeah, to the audience that we have
Hey, it's
here.
growing,
What
it's growing.
are the priorities for the auxiliary?
Well, first I want to thank the legislative staff here, the Washington staff, for spending time with us today. We've been upstairs meeting with your staff and figuring out ways that we can be better help, that we can work together and be stronger for that.
Yeah.
For that. So thank you very much for the time that we've spent here today.
Okay.
And, I see a great part of my mission personally is to go out and talk to our members, inspire them, let them know that what they're doing is so important. And that we have a mission to complete, and that is, the support and the honoring of our veterans. So in my mission of inspiring them and making sure they feel important, it has inspired me. So I'm doubly inspired and energized to get this work done and keep going. And
very good.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
quite a
am
mission.
so fortunate to have that lady right there to sit with me and walk with me on this journey this year. It is, again, the stars just kind of aligned here,
Right.
and we both have that same mindset of, it is about advocating for me and advocating support for those veterans.
It is. It
Now-
is. And their families, because, we're the ones, we're back there supporting, trying to do what's right, figuring out how we can help and how we can fit together and work things out for them. So, with them and for them. Carol, we have a special project that we're working on together.
Yes, we do. Yes, and I am so grateful that the auxiliary has kindly, joined in with this, and we are working on a project at the National Home. We call it More for the Store. They have just built a store for the National Home up there in Eaton Rapids, Michigan. They did not have any means to get simple groceries, milk, cereal, or anything. So now they have put a store on the grounds, and so we are filling it Lois and I are
Stock the
raising money to
store.
fill it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, and
phenomenal
it will be such a great boost for those families up there. There's 44 homes up there. They had to drive half an hour just to get a carton of milk.
Oof.
And so now they will have the means to send their kids right down to the store and get something.
Is there a way that our listeners can directly support this effort?
Oh, absolutely. They can go to the National Home website. I believe it's VFWNationalHome.org.
Okay.
And
Yes.
donate to the store directly.
Fantastic. Okay.
And they can, we don't need equipment or anything. That is taken care of. This is just to augment the store with food, any small items that a family could use. And so they absolutely can do that.
And for those who are not familiar with what the National Home does, would one of you mind explaining really quick?
Sure. The National Home was established 100 years ago. They just celebrated their anniversary.
100th anniversary.
This summer. And it's a home for veterans who are struggling either financially, emotionally, physically, that need that extra help and do not have the means to do it themselves. They can apply online. They are, vetted through our national director, Mike Wilson, and they can live there up to 3 years for free.
Wow.
And in a home, they can call their own for 3 years. They can work on their college degree. They can work on getting a job. They have social network up there so that if they are struggling with some sort of addiction or something that they need help with, PTSD, they have that up there at the home. I will praise Mike Wilson all day long. He turned that program around. We were just about ready to shut the National Home down
Oh, wow.
because we did not have veterans' families living there. There was local families living who were not veterans. We didn't have that military connection that Mike Wilson does. And he has absolutely turned the National Home into a veterans village for those people. And we fill on a regular basis all 42 homes now with veterans.
Oh, because the way it was started was
Yes.
was with orphans from those
Right.
Yes.
In the
leftover.
beginning, yes.
Right. That's how it first started. With the
Correct.
orphans were there, and
Correct.
they were doing things like manning a fire department and milking cows and doing all kinds of things.
And they
So-
still do that.
yeah, and they still do that. So
Yes, they teach the kids how to, they have their own school there. They don't have to leave the grounds. It's a very secure, safe place for veterans and their families. They teach them how, if they want 4-H projects, they have animals there. If they want to learn about how to plow a field, they do that. They teach them about fire-saving techniques. It is a phenomenal
Music,
home now.
music, piano,
therapy.
guitars.
Yes, music therapy, you name it. They have augmented that home in such a fabulous way that it is truly their own village. It is theirs. Nobody else can be there but them.
And it's encouraging to see that community really rally around that too, because Eaton Rapids, it is kind of right in the middle of Michigan, but the transitioning service members or veterans who are there can attend community college classes. They're close enough to Michigan State that they've had families attend Michigan State, things like that, to acquire those skills. And in some ways, we were underselling it for a very long time.
Yes.
Because people thought, well, is it an orphanage? Is it an old folks home? That's what some of the stigma that went behind it. There are signs when you're driving up to it that say like VFW Home. Well, that doesn't really describe what it does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's self-funded by the VFW, and VFW states from around the country, departments from around the world help to fund the homes.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, there are some misconceptions too. And I love the way that you put it, that look, it's 3 years. Mm-hmm. Not every family that applies is accepted. There are other social services that many times they're directed to, but it is really to help a struggling veterans family or recently transitioned military family get back on their feet.
Yes.
With things like childcare, access to quality education, and the like. I mean, I've always been a champion of the home's purpose, and I agree. It's exciting to see that it's on a track where the people who need it the most are going to be able to take advantage of it.
Yes, absolutely. It is. It's truly a lifesaver for a family that has nowhere else to turn, and they don't have to pay rent. They don't have to worry about electrical bills. You know, they just have to get themselves back on their feet, and their families, their kids. A lot of times it's very overwhelmingly single mothers that are, you know, the sole provider for that family, and it's a life jacket for them when they're struggling.
Well, very good. I mean, that's a great project that you two are working on.
Yes.
Be able to get them the things they
And
need.
I'm so glad we collaborated on that. And Lois said, "Whatever you want, Commander, that's what we'll do." And my class chose that project. I gave them at least 4 different things to choose from,
Choices.
and overwhelmingly they chose to support the store. So
Very good. It's
And
too
we
bad they
followed
can't drink
suit.
the milk,
Yeah.
I guess, huh?
yeah.
You have to homogenize the milk before you could drink it. I don't know. Maybe they have rules against that. So, Lois, I know that you have a very special project aside from what you're doing
I do.
with Carol.
I do.
And I want you to talk a little bit about this because it's
Okay.
we here at the VFW when we talk a lot about Help a Hero Scholarship. We talk about the SVA Fellowship. We talk a lot about these different opportunities we have for education. But people don't know what the auxiliary has, and I think that kind of tees it up for you to talk about your special project.
Okay. All right. So, you know, the auxiliary works with the VFW on so many things. We help with Buddy Poppy. We help with your the Veterans Voice of Democracy and the
Right.
Patriots
Yep.
Band. We work in hospitals. We work out in our communities. And I began to think, what do we do for ourselves? What can we do to help one another in our auxiliary? And so there is a scholarship called the Auxiliary Continuing Education Scholarship. And it's woefully underfunded. It really, really is. And so it is my hope and my dream that we can offer greater scholarship amounts and a greater number of scholarships. Currently, there are 4 scholarships awarded per year for the small amount of $1,250. So we need to improve that. We need to be able to offer more number of scholarships and larger numbers. And I'm hoping that everyone will embrace that concept and bring some money in and make that happen.
So it's basically books. That's
Which
that
is,
covers.
you know,
Exactly.
which is very helpful, to be
Exactly.
clear.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, it is.
textbooks are extremely high, you know, especially depending on what you're studying.
Very much.
Some of it can, you know, depending on your financial situation, if you're on fixed income, that can be a pretty tall order.
And I gotta say, like, a project like that is so important, especially for the auxiliary. When you think of the military and veteran community, there's a lot of discussion about caregivers, family members who take on responsibility to assist disabled veterans who they love and care for. And many times what that means is a caregiver may be out of the workforce for some time or not be able to attain the skills that they need to now take on a different role with their family.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
So that's exciting. I mean, I think on the VFW side, I mean, I'm really glad that you're on the podcast talking about it because as more VFW members and auxiliary members hear about this and know about this and make that linkage that, hey, our auxiliary it's our caregivers.
Yeah.
It's our family
Thank you
members.
so
our
much.
loved ones.
I love having the format to talk about it. So
Do you
thanks.
have a site that people can go to?
Ooh, great question.
So we want to go to VFWauxiliary.org, and we want to look at the scholarship programs.
Yeah.
And then probably the last one on the list is going to be the Auxiliary Continuing Education Scholarship.
Okay.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
That can make a huge
Very
difference
good.
for somebody or many people.
That's cool.
That is
Yes.
very cool.
And I think it goes without saying that while you're there on the page, you probably want to visit the How to Join portion because
Yes.
if you are a VFW family member, then why are you not in the auxiliary? You should just absolutely join the auxiliary. Here's your pitch.
I wish I had said that. Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, while we're on the topic, what qualifies a family
Great
member to join the VFW Auxiliary?
And she kind of alluded to it earlier, but you only talked about your dad. So talk about other people.
So we all joined this organization because someone in our life made that sacrifice. So someone we love is in the Veterans of Foreign Wars or has spent time, overseas for us. Yeah. And so we all love someone, and that's our payback. Okay. That's our opportunity to pay it back, pay it forward.
Okay, so they have to qualify, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about the qualifying.
Yes. What is the qualification?
So the qualification specifically is immediate family member, mother, father, brother, sister, grandmother, grandfather, of a service member who served overseas.
All right, and then it would also be the spouse and then the children and grandchildren.
Right. So children and grandchildren.
That's right. Exactly right.
So, for example, if my mom wanted to join, she can do that.
She can.
She can.
You're her connection.
On your, we say that on your eligibility.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, how old do my kids have to be to join the auxiliary?
16.
Ooh.
16.
All right.
So Lily and Mia have a little while to go.
They have a little while to go. And Joey, when you
get
turn
there.
16 in December, you better be looking out for your membership card because it is coming. So anyway,
Are you on it or
my
not?
wife is like, "Oh my gosh, Rob, come on." So anyway, okay, so there's that. Those are some great things. Let's talk a little bit about this week. Now we talked a lot about advocacy, right? And we're in the suits.
And we've alluded to it a lot.
We
We're
alluded
walking the
to
halls
it.
of
We talked
Congress.
about it.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it a little bit. What were our priorities, our legislative priorities? Carol, I'm going to go to you first. What were our legislative priorities that you delivered to your representatives in Iowa?
Well, one of my biggest passions and hopes and dreams that the Richard Starr Act gets passed this year, and I spoke quite a bit about it with our legislators. It has gone on for over 20 years. 20 years we have been trying to get this act passed, the Richard Starr Act passed. And somehow either the Senate or the House goes back and forth about not coming, through for us.
Yeah.
And shame on them.
Yeah.
Because it only affects a very small group of veterans, about 50,000 veterans.
Yeah.
That is minuscule in the veteran world, in the population. And the money is there. It comes out of the Military Retirement Fund. The money is there. Congress, you need to get this done this year.
Look at that.
It is my dream that this passes this year, and it should. It shamefully should. Oof. So please do this.
Wow, right there. And looking into the camera, I love the usage. Nice. I'm going to go to Brittany for a moment. Brittany, you spent a lot of time, Pat, your husband, and Ryan's good friend, our good friend, former legislative director here, would fall into this. Could you give us kind of the nuts and bolts? I mean, we're talking 20 years that we've been talking about certain things like concurrent receipt, and like Major Richard Starr, like the name for Major Richard Starr in the naming of the bill, how long that's been, and really kind of where it is, because some people would say it's a bill in itself or it's been added to the NDAA. I mean, could you kind of give us the specifics?
So many names.
I know. I just threw it all on you. Just threw it all on you,
no
Brittany.
pressure. No.
Pick a topic.
Pick a topic. So we've spoken about this bill at length. It's like, why are we still talking about
this? We've answered fan mail.
We shouldn't be right.
Well, we should be talking about it until it's passed.
We should be, and we're not going to stop. So, and I think it's really important that we do, especially because at every opportunity that Congress has had, and we've said this before, regardless of which party is in the majority in either chamber at any given time or which administration is in office. To Carol's point, it has been over 20 years since there has been any movement whatsoever on concurrent receipt. Policy change.
Yes.
The most recent one wasn't, it was back in 2004.
Yeah.
And that is entirely too long because there is a huge pool of veterans, massive, that is impacted by concurrent receipt laws.
They were retired early.
So there's that group, the folks who are retired early through no fault of their own, from the medically retired. So a lot of those are captured within the Richard Starr Act. And then there's an even larger group of people who maybe did their 20, but they didn't hit that magic 50% or higher disability rating. So that's an even more massive group of veterans. And then their concurrent receipt is even bigger than that. But when we're talking about just Richard Starr, to your point, Carol, yes, it is. It's about 55,000 people. And that it increases a little bit every year. Mm-hmm. And DOD has those numbers. They're fully aware of who they are. Mm-hmm. And they receive combat-related special compensation. So to Rob's point, yes, my husband receives that. So he would potentially be impacted under this bill. Mm-hmm. And I think that the Richard Starr Act, as in its current form, was drafted initially around 2017 or 2018?
Yeah.
You might have been, the deputy director over there, right?
I was deputy director of NVS at that time. So.
Yeah.
So now we're coming up on...
But it's been a minute.
On almost 10, it's
almost a decade already.
Mm-hmm. Way too long. And we get to this point, it seems every year we get to this point where we're like, okay, let's put it in the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. Let's try to get it through that route. And here it's like, okay, will they entertain it? And no, it gets shot down. And it was just shot down again. Was it yesterday? In the House Rules Committee, they again decided not to include it as an amendment.
And look, it's a little morbid, but I think we need to say it here. Major Richard Starr used to walk the halls of Congress advocating for this.
Yes, and his wife.
They are no longer with us.
No, they have both passed away.
Yes.
And
that's how long we're talking about this.
Oh, I didn't know that she passed away as
She
well.
did.
2 years ago. Yes. Yes. She was with us on a testimony 2 years ago. And, because she knew our passion for her husband's namesake.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now she is gone. Neither one of them will get to see this. No. And shame on us for that.
Yeah.
In Major Starr, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he passed away due to exposure-related.
Yes, it was.
An exposure-related condition.
Yes.
And so, yes, neither of them will see the bill that they fought for so hard. They will not.
Yes.
Neither of them have got to see it.
But their
passed.
children should.
And there's so many problems with this when you talk about big concurrent receipt or just the Major Richard Starr Act for combat wounded medical retirees. We do a lot of work in the benefits space. We accredit more than 2,000 highly trained and vetted advocates who help veterans navigate their earned benefits. And what I can tell you, especially from those who serve transitioning service members on military installations, that magic 50% for concurrent receipt on 20-year plus retirees, it incentivizes all the wrong things about VA benefits.
That is so true.
Because now you dangle this thing as like, you got to get to 50% or we're going to hit you financially. It's like that. Okay, so now you're I believe incentivizing the wrong behavior. And I have seen it. I have sat across from veterans who are like, I just need to get to X percentage so this other benefit kicks in. It's like, well, why are we doing this? Why are we nickel and diming people on bad policy? And especially when it comes to the Starr Act, combat wounded.
Yes.
Come on, if we're not going to provide it for combat wounded, we are no longer honoring the contract. It may sound corny, but when we talk about the work that we do with DPAA, it sends a message to people who are going to volunteer and wear the uniform. Yes. When we say we're not going to take care of our combat wounded, what message does that send to a high schooler who's considering joining the military?
That is a great point, Ryan. Somebody told me relatively recently that they did not find out that their retirement pay was going to be reduced until they were in the hospital bed after they had been wounded. And this is not something that's widely known. And people find out about this horrible offset often at the very wrong times.
That's unconscionable to do that to somebody.
And especially people who are serving, they're on a track for longevity retirement. That's a lot of the people who are going to take advantage of this. Because also, we kind of buried the lead. People in Pat's situation, they're probably going to keep CRSC.
They probably will. It's going to be,
his retirement as a corporal is
probably not going to.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have 15, 16, 17, 18-year retirees who are told, nope, we're not going to retain you till you're 20. We're going to medically retire you.
Yes.
Out of convenience.
What the hell?
And then this circles back to the caregiver issue.
Yeah.
because now we have individuals who served their country for, some of them, 17, 18, 19 years, maybe 19 years and 364 days.
Yes.
In like the worst case scenario. But then you have, if their retirement pay is then docked, and then maybe they need caregiver support, so because if they can't work, and then the caregiver then is, maybe their workforce participation is then reduced. And so that's a huge hit.
Yeah.
And they're forced to make choices then. Where do I live? How do I
Yes.
live? Where's my money coming from? Because I can't work, my wife can't work because or he can't work because they're taking care of that
Exactly.
veteran.
I did meet a veteran traveling around the VFW who he's a medical retiree, and so his retirement is offset. He started the med board process before he hit 20 years. I told him, the conversations we had, like, wow, someone really hooked you up, because when you hit that 20, they should have let you just, we're gonna drop this, you can longevity retire. No, they said we have to complete the med board. And then would only retire him as a Chapter 61 retiree. So he served more than 20 years.
Yes.
And he is having his retirement offset because of the category
That's
Yes.
the
retirement.
worst.
Yes. And so people who've gotten bad information, take the med board instead, those folks have come up to me as well. And it's like, well, what do I do? It's like, you took the medical retirement and over the longevity retirement,
long
and
is
now you're
that?
in this boat. That is, it's so wrong. It's egregious.
Wow. Well, people may think that that's the only thing we were talking about on Capitol Hill, but
Sorry,
that's
but no, sorry.
no. It was my. Hey, I asked.
Look,
I asked.
we're a bit fired up about it, all right?
Yes.
Why not? We should be. I mean, it's
Yeah.
egregious that those things have happened, but
That's what we're supposed
Right.
to do, and that's why we're here, is to make sure that our legislators hear that and know that we're pissed off.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
not going to take it anymore.
right.
Yes.
Exactly right. Well, we
Well
carried a
said.
lot of energy onto Capitol Hill and into those office buildings, that's for sure. And the auxiliary was there with us to a certain degree.
you.
Side by
You
side.
were, right? Lois,
Yes.
what was some of the things that you talked about when you were talking to some of the legislators?
So I would, the one thing that I talked about really was the TAP transition assistance program.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
making sure that we have service officers available for those young people coming out, anyone discharging really. But my story is that my grandson just recently came out of the Navy. And he went through a TAP program. And when he got home, grandfather called him and said, "Are you hooked up with the service officer yet?" And he said, "I don't know. Am I?" And he said, "I think I heard something about service officers during that TAP program they sent me through." And so my husband immediately got him hooked up with the service officer, and he is now, hooked up with the medical center that he needs to be, McClellan in Little Rock, just saying, and getting the services that he needs. For those that don't have that grandfather to get them in,
Exactly.
they're languishing, and they could get in trouble. They could get in trouble emotionally and physically and not know where to go.
Financially, yeah.
And so then we're looking at a lot more problems that then flow into the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's probably the one that really hit
Good
my
for you,
home.
Lois.
Well
Good for
articulated.
you.
I'm glad you talked about
Such an
that one, because
important
that one again is a VFW idea, and that's
Yes.
one. Some of the bills, for those listening or watching, some of the bills that we promote, maybe they're in support of VFW resolutions, but we weren't necessarily the ones who, behind closed doors or behind the scenes, were working that legislative language. The TAP Promotion Act is one that the VFW was pushing to build for years, and shout out to VFW member and Congressman Derek Van Orden
Yes.
for championing that in the House. But I'll tell you, the other part of the TAP Promotion Act is we had pushed on the administrative side for years to do this. And really what the TAP Promotion Act does is it makes sure that accredited representatives, whether they're from the VFW, American Legion, DAV, your state, counties, if they're accredited with Department of Veterans Affairs, they're given time in that classroom to then say, hey, I know we just hit you with a bunch of information that makes no sense to you because you've never been out of the military. But don't worry, we got Brittany right here. She's accredited by Department of Veterans Affairs. If you want to know what it means to you, Brittany, what do you have to say about it? And then Brittany can give her little sales pitch and hey, come set up an appointment with me one-on-one. We'll go over your records and tell you what it means to you. We do that on more than 20 bases right now. We're expanding to South Korea here. We're hiring for it. Right now.
Right now.
Right now, we are hiring. Go to VFW.org, scroll to the bottom, careers, you'll see it there.
Yeah. But we also need help from those base commanders
Yes.
to allow us onto the bases, and that's a big problem. It is up to the command whether or not they let the service officers come onto the base, and there is no reason to not let a service officer onto a base. We're providing a free service to these, potential veterans.
And accredited by the VA.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's exactly what the TAP Promotion Act would ensure. It would codify. It's like base commanders know you.
Yes.
You must let them in.
This is part of the VA's package.
You shall. Yes.
And right now, VA is doing it, and it's like it's working. It's working where it's working.
Where it's working.
Yes.
But it needs to be the law, and because the law, by making it a law, that means it won't stop, and that means it will expand, and that when an accredited representative is nearby a military installation, they approach that commander. It's like, no, you can have some peace of mind that we're here on an authorized program. I'm not just, hey, trust me, let me on the base.
I'm not a claim shark.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah.
And so that's another thing.
Exactly.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, tie in there.
Because
So
they're
exactly.
sneaking their way onto military.
So when they're
bases.
taken care of and they're getting services, they're less likely to be seeking out and cooperating and working with a claim shark.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's a really important bill and one that we're very passionate about.
Yes.
And we're really hoping that it gets through. It's in the House version of the NDAA right now, and we're really hoping that's one of the big asks is that it is retained when the NDAA comes for reconciliation between the House and the Senate Armed Services Committees. That is retained in there so that it gets through and finally codified in law.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's the next topic that we're going to talk about, Ryan? That's what I was trying to signal you. My smoke signal.
And look,
farm signals there.
and before we move on, there are others like foreign medical program.
Yes.
Yep. We talked about that.
Community care improvements with the Access Act that we've talked about on the podcast before, and then of course stopping bad ideas like legalizing predatory claim sharks.
Oh, that's awful.
And so a lot of good discussions on the Hill. But in addition to the discussions that we had with legislators, you had a discussion last night with your subcommittee chair and vice chairs because we're on a mission together to really bring our Army forward. Kind of the way that we've done before in the 1930s, kind of the way that we did with Honor the Pact Act. But tell our listeners and our viewers, what are we working on?
I am so excited because all of my new committee legislative chairs are all in. They are dedicated to making sure that we move forward with everything. And so now they're excited about sharing their goals, sharing their ideas, and sharing their mentorship with all of the other legislative chairs from the state. We plan to have Zoom meetings now monthly from my legislative chair, Jason Johns, and my assistant, Kimberly Napoleon. And it was just such a productive meeting last night that I am so excited for this committee that they are just leaps and bounds. It has never been done before. And we want to make sure that everybody understands what our legislative priorities are, how they can get involved, how they can have ownership of this advocacy at the lowest level all the way back up here to D.C. It starts at the lowest level. They can do state advocacy, evolve into national legislative advocacy. I'm sorry, I get excited about
that. Yeah, sure. As you should. And actually, you were talking about at the lowest level when we were talking earlier to Lois. I know, at the lowest level. Come on, I know. I got that.
I was thinking it.
See? Now, we talked a little bit about that upstairs, about how you guys have a desire to, let's get this information. We want to get this out to our auxiliary members as well.
Yeah,
they can advocate just as much as we can. And a lot of times they have more time and just as effectively. But we need to teach them how to approach their legislators, what to say, what not to say. And that's what our program is going to start doing is, how do you talk with your legislator? What is the most impactful way to say things with your legislators and get their attention and get the most bang for your buck when you have that 15 minutes with them? And that's what Ryan has really started, and Gabby.
I was going to say, there's some opportunity here, especially with our brand new training.
Yeah.
So
the training was amazing.
Yes, it was.
Yes, kudos
Knockout
to Gabby.
job.
Yeah, she did a
Kudos
great
to
job.
the entire
Absolutely.
team for that, because it's never been done before. And I hope I keep saying that. It's never been done before. Let's do this, and let's make sure that if it works, let's expound on it and keep it going.
Nice.
And to back
Love
it up
that.
a little for some of our listeners who are wondering maybe what we're talking about. So the VFW, for a while, at least back to the 1930s from what I've read, has had a national legislative committee. It's had a lot of different iterations. It used to be comprised of members of Congress who were who were VFW members.
Or just local.
And it's had a lot of different iterations. A couple of years ago, we set on a path of, and it was at your request, talking about, hey, how are we preparing legislative committee members to do what we're asking them to do? And what we found was there wasn't much structure. There was a committee, there were appointments, but everybody had a different opinion of how it worked. And that's all it was. It was hearsay. And in the structure of the VFW and the bylaws that Rob has in front of him, unless there's a standing committee in those bylaws, it only exists because the commander-in-chief says that it exists. So we were leaving our legislative advocacy to chance. And so we set forward on a goal of providing structure to that committee. At the National Convention in 2024, a bylaw was approved that made this a standing committee, and it was executed, and it's now being executed. The committee grew by about 33 representatives, and your charge to us was to better prepare them for what they're going to do. And I was excited to be a part of that meeting, and also to have the team that NLS has with Gabby, Christina, and Nancy, Joy, Megan, and Joe, because I think we're onto something. We're really close to cracking the code and telling VFW members, hey, look, this is for you. I remember when I was in college, I didn't think that this type of work was for people like me. Everyone has this notion that you have to have been born with a silver spoon in your mouth, be a senator's son, know somebody who knows somebody who robbed somebody, and then that's what's going to allow you to get access to your legislators. And no, it's a First Amendment right.
That's right.
And
Yes.
I'm excited about where we can go with this.
Oh, I am too. And there is no limit to what our training can do, how we move forward with all of the advocacy, and it will only get better. I know that.
All right.
I'm thrilled to also partner more with the auxiliary, because
Yes.
together there's just no telling what we can accomplish.
What we can accomplish.
That's right.
Right.
Reinforcing
It
fires.
is the
Absolutely.
truth.
And
Yes.
hey, when it comes to voting, we all get a vote. We all have a voice.
We all have one vote. We
There's
all
no
have
like
one membership,
Right.
one
lesser
vote.
vote or anything like that.
Right.
So
And I'm going to put a plug in here from my class. They came up with this motto. It is for veterans, by veterans.
okay.
And that's exactly what we're doing. And throwing ninja stars at people.
I was gonna say, I'm like, she's picking up a weapon. Ninja Star.
This made it through TSA, and it made it through Congress. Yes, we are veterans for.
It was actually on the most recently released Safe to Fly list.
I was going to say,
Along
are we
with-
that far
yeah, there was, like,
9/11
waffle
that they're
irons
like Chinese throwing stars on?
Yeah.
Into the
Throwing
Pentagon.
stars.
I know.
The Pentagon.
Pentagon?
Made it through the Pentagon.
We're going to test the White House tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Where are we in this podcast, Ryan? Throwing stars. Got it. Great motto.
Good segue to
Are we at that point right now? Are we?
I believe so. I believe
Yes,
so.
Yeah, it's at the good of the order, and boy, things have really gone upside down here. So we're going to go ahead and go around the room for the good of the order, and I want to start with Ryan. Ryan, do you mind if we start with you first?
Yeah, I don't know if I was ready.
All right, okay then. I'll let you think about it.
I've got like three things. Do you want to?
All right. So who
I don't know yet.
before that, Lois, do you have something in mind?
I do. I'm
go with you.
excited to become, a better force multiplier and having our auxiliary work with the VFW and see what we can accomplish together. So
Okay.
that's,
Very good. Do you have something to follow that up?
I do. It's more complimentary to what Lois just said.
All right. Go ahead, Brittany.
I love the auxiliary because when I was again, reaching back to my experience last September, it's been almost a whole year when I was in North Carolina after Hurricane Helene came through. I was just blown away by how incredibly effective we were. Or I should say that their team was, because I was just an observer. Their team was VFW members and auxiliary members, hand in hand, getting it done down there, helping with, supply collection and distribution, and getting it out to the people who needed it most. And I just love the effectiveness, the camaraderie, the motivation, the commitment, the will to serve, that is alive in every VFW and auxiliary member, and how awesome it is when we come together to do things.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
That's really good.
Thanks.
And
Yes.
I hope that through this podcast that, number one, our auxiliary members feel seen and that they know that they're appreciated, especially having your president here who's achieving goals like, I think I'll be president one day, which I thought was pretty cool.
Which is
Anyway.
pretty awesome.
Okay, so Ryan,
I'll
give you some time.
Chief gets last word.
That's right.
So I was trying to think of what I had for the good of the order, and I'll talk about umbrellas. Here.
Oh, I really did one this morning.
This is a recent story. No, this is a recent story. So earlier today, the commander in chief and I were over at the Pentagon. Kelly McCaig, the director of DPAA, had hosted Carol, the other line officers, our senior vice Corey Geisler, our junior vice Glenn Umberger, for a lunch to talk about ways that VFW and DPAA are working together. So after the lunch, Kelly took us around to see around the Pentagon, show us the POWMA hallway, stopped by the 9/11 memorial for a pretty somber moment of reflection here, because today is September 10th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow is 9/11. I don't know, Carol, I'll let you talk a little bit about that, and people will see some of that on social media. But then the funny part was we were walking down the corridor for the new Secretary of War. And Carol had asked me to hold on to her umbrella. Now the problem was, it's like a longer umbrella, so I'm like swinging this thing around, and Glenn is like, Ryan, you might want to watch with that. And at one point I'm like leaning up against the wall. He's like, no, dude, you're gonna put a hole in the wall.
It was his weapon. So
Wow.
And so
this is my umbrella. There is no other umbrella.
there are many like
one
it,
is
but
mine.
this one is mine. So I think from now on I have to carry the umbrella at the ready.
Yes. Yes. Or the low ready.
Muzzle discipline.
The
Yeah, low ready.
Yes.
You know, do I need muzzle discipline?
You should.
With the umbrella, but
Sounds like you
I
may.
don't know.
yeah. Right shoulder umbrella.
That is definitely.
So I mean, they got the corridor there, and they're obviously redoing it. So they're putting up new signs in and around the
So
Pentagon.
that hole means nothing.
But here's the thing: have they already plastered over the holes? Because they were taking the Secretary of Defense thing off the other day. That video went around the internet, and that it's already pristine, like it's already painted over. So they already did the repairs.
Yeah.
I don't want to be putting a hole in the wall like right after they just
messed
patched
around.
all the holes in the wall.
It is the war room.
There's no fighting in the war room.
Wow, there's a lot to change there. I went to the Defense Information School, so we think it would be the War Information School.
WINFOS.
Right?
WINFOS.
It would be. I don't know how that's going to work, but they'll figure it out, I'm sure. Carol, Commander-in-Chief Carol Whitmore, what is your good of the order?
I'm just going to piggyback onto Lois and to Brittany. The VFW and Auxiliary, if they're not working together, shame on you, because you need to find a way to do that. And I know many of them out there clash, and stop that, because you're not paying attention to the mission then. And the mission is the most important thing. Personalities aside, get rid of those, because the mission is the most important thing. And thank you, Lois, for that. Thank you for your support, your personal support of the VFW. And let's make sure that the VFW and Auxiliary have an epic year and a strong year, and make sure that we advocate together and do the right thing for fellow veterans.
All right. That is fantastic.
Am I allowed to do like finger
You can
snaps?
do the finger snaps if you want to, Brittany. I know it's tough because you're normally here, so
I am.
in the
jazz
screen,
hands.
No,
so
I mean,
do that
jazz
underneath
hands.
there, right?
Well
Yeah.
said, Carol.
Yes.
All right. I have one last thing for the good of the order. So I will say this. During the last part of convention, your commander-in-chief reception, there was something that was flying out like hotcakes. And that was, and I'm going to bring in my camera here.
Oh, no.
It was the VFW magazine with her on the cover for September. It just so happened that we had the box and it was early. And one of the things that we had done was, you know what would be really cool is if we had Carol sign right here in the white space. So for the VFW podcast, I was hoping that you, and if you wouldn't mind, Brittany, passing this along to our Commander-in-Chief, Carol Whitmore, for her to sign the first copy that will go up on our wall here in the podcast. Well, maybe when we come back to our new
Going
building.
back from the renovation.
Yeah. So here we go. Ready? And it's on for you. I can't really put it down, but we can see. And as soon as you sign it, you can lift it up. How's that
All
sound?
right. God, I feel like a rock star here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna frame this.
And I'm just a member who has an extra title here.
That's right. And you also have a magazine cover. It's almost like the Rolling Stone. Yeah. I think there was a song about
pretty
that at one
similar.
point in
Yeah.
time.
Gotta buy 5 copies for my mother.
That's right. They all went to everybody. You got to turn it around. You got to turn it around.
Oh
show the
my
camera.
God.
You got to show the camera. There it is. Yes. It's off to the side. Thank you, Carol, for doing that for us.
Yes.
And I thank you for
Thank you,
being
Carol.
on the podcast, taking time. We have, other events that are going on here while you're in Washington, D.C. So we're not going to take up any more of your time. But again, thank you.
My pleasure, my honor. Thank you all. Thank you all for what you do. Your dedication has no bounds. And I appreciate you all.
All right, and very kind of you to say thank you. And for our listeners and those watching out there, we like to say thank you for watching the VFW podcast, Still Serving. And when it does come to the VFW and our auxiliary, we are still serving. You all take care.
Ninja Star. Right in the middle.
No, right in the gunk.
She got you good.
Thank you for listening to Still Serving, the VFW podcast. To get the latest news and information from the veterans of foreign wars, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe to us on social media at VFW HQ, on Facebook at VFW Fans, or visit our website at vfw.org.